Hello everyone and welcome to this Fight Night video, which is brought to you by James from mysmarterhome.com. My Fight Night series of videos contain comparisons of popular smart devices, and to make it more light-hearted I use a boxing match format. The two devices that are fighting in today's video are the Schlage Connect 469NX and the Yale YRD240 smart locks. In this comparison I've collected as many details as I could about each product, and I've broken the details down into shorter sections to make my boxing rounds. After each round I will tell you who in my opinion has won, and at the end of the comparison I will declare an overall winner. I hope that you enjoy watching this video and it helps you to decide on what the best type of smart lock is to buy for yourself. So let's quickly crack on. So here we have a photograph of the Schlage and the Yale. Now I don't want to tell you which of these locks that I like the look of more, because I think the look of a product is something that is down completely to personal taste. And so what my videos tend to focus on is the cold hard facts, the specifications. So round one, the basic specifications. The Connect is made, of course, by the Schlage company, who have a strong background. They've been making locks for decades. And of course, the 240 is made by Yale, who are one of the biggest and most well-known lock companies in the world. So the Schlage was first sold in January 2013, whereas the Yale was first sold in August 2013. So the Yale is a slightly newer product. In terms of weight, the Schlage is 3.8 pounds and the Yale is 5 pounds. Dimensions, the Schlage is bigger. It is 4.5 by 5.1 by 9.2 inches, whereas the Yale is 6.1 times 1.3 times 6.1 inches. And finally in this section, the price. And remember, of course, these prices can change, but at the moment the Schlage is on sale for $164.33, whereas the Yale is on sale for $190.90. So the Schlage is a cheaper smart lock currently. So the winner of round one, the basic specifications, in my opinion, is the Schlage. Round two. Here we're looking at all the different methods of opening the locks. Now, some of these methods that you've got on the screen here are used by other smart locks which are on the market. So these are all popular methods of opening smart locks. So the first method is using a keypad, and both the Schlage and the Yale use keypads. And so they've both got a touch screen and backlit keypads. The second method that you might use to open a smart lock is using a smartphone. Neither the Schlage nor the Yale can be opened with a smart lock. The next method is using a traditional or a mechanical key. And the Schlage, you can use a mechanical key to open it, and it comes with one. Whereas the Yale, you can't use a traditional key to open it. Another popular method of opening a smart lock is using a fob or a tag, and neither of these locks use a fob or a tag to open them. And a final popular method of opening a smart lock is using your fingerprint. And again, neither of these smart locks can be opened using your fingerprint. So let's have a look at round two. I think at the end of that, just slightly, again, the Schlage is the winner. Round 3, this is all about your remote access using apps and browsers. Now again, lots of smart locks out there have apps that you can use to open and control the locks, and you can even use your browser to go in and to control the locks as well. Neither the Schlage nor the Yale use any apps, either iOS or Android or Windows 10, and neither of them can be controlled through a browser. So I think definitely at the end of round 3 that is a definite draw, because none of them use that technology. Round 4, this is home automation. Now home automation is slightly different from what we were talking about just now with remote access, because there's lots of different home automation systems out there, and these are ways that you can actually control a lock at the same time as controlling other smart devices. So the first home automation system that I want to compare is IFTTT or IFTTT. If then, if this, then that is what it stands for. Now neither of these two smart locks can be controlled using the IFTTT system. The next big home automation system is the Amazon Echo, and both of these locks can be controlled using the Echo system. Another big system is Apple's HomeKit, and neither the Schlage nor the Yale are compatible with Apple's HomeKit system. Another big system is called Z-Wave, and both of these smart locks work with the Z-Wave system. Another big system is Zigbee, and neither the Schlage nor the Yale work with or are compatible with Zigbee. Wink is another big home automation system, and both the Schlage and the Yale can be used with the Wink system. And finally, another big system is Samsung's SmartThings, and again both of these locks can be used with SmartThings. So let's have a look, see who is the winner of this round. And again, I've decided that this round is a draw. Both of them are about the same in how they use home automation systems. Round 5, Security and Lock Features Part 1. So let's have a look. The first aspect of this is the ANSI security rating. And the Schlage has a grade 1, which is the highest grade for security rating, whereas the Yale has a grade 2 ANSI rating. The next aspect that I want to look at is privacy features. The Schlage has its keypad is fingerprint resistant, which is an excellent privacy feature, and it's the same for the Yale. Its keypad is fingerprint resistant as well. Now in terms of any alarms that either of these locks have with them, the Schlage has a tamper and forced entry alarm, and you can choose between which of those you want it to sound off with. And also the Yale has a tamper and forced entry alarms on it. And finally, in part 1 of security and lock features is the emergency open. And this essentially is if either device runs out of power, how do you open it? Now the Schlage, you open it with the mechanical key, whereas the Yale, you open it with a 9-volt battery. So let's have a look at part 2, security and lock features. The first aspect of this is auto lock, and both the Schlage and the Yale have an auto lock facility. The next one is remote unlock, and both of these can be remotely unlocked using one of the home automation systems that I mentioned earlier. The next aspect is personal identification number, or the pin length. So with the Schlage, your password for opening up the lock can be between 4 and 8 digits, and it's the same for the Yale. Your password or pin length is 4 to 8 digits. And the final aspect of the lock features is the storage. How many different passwords or pins can each of the locks store? And the Schlage can store 30 different codes, whereas the Yale can store 250 codes. So that's a big difference there with how many the Yale can. So at the end of round 5, which is a long round, it had lots of different features to look at. The winner is the Schlage, just slightly. Even though the Yale can store more codes, I thought overall the Schlage is the winner across all of the different features. Round 6, design and power. Again, lots of different elements to this round. The first section is all about the colours. So the Schlage comes in 6 colours and the Yale comes in 3 colours. Looking at the websites, the Schlage installs in less than an hour with just a screwdriver, whereas the Yale says that it installs in minutes with just a screwdriver. In terms of how both of the locks are powered, the Schlage is powered by 4 AA batteries, as is the Yale. So there's no difference there. They're powered by the same thing. In terms of their weatherproofing, the operating temperatures, well, the Schlage can operate in temperatures between -35 degrees C to 66 degrees C, and the Yale, very similar, can do -30 degrees C to 60 degrees C. So there's not an awful lot of difference in their weatherproofing there. Another feature that some smart locks have is voice guided setup, and the Schlage doesn't have voice guided setup, but the Yale does have voice guided setup, and I think it comes in 3 different languages: English, French and Spanish. Another aspect is, do either of these locks use your existing deadbolt? And neither of them do. And finally is the warranty, and the Schlage comes with a lifetime for finish and mechanics, as does the Yale. The Yale comes with a lifetime warranty for finish and mechanics. So again, in many ways that's a very close round, but the winner of round 6 is the Yale. And finally, round 7, the ratings and reviews. What do the people who have bought these products really think about? So, the overall rating. The Schlage has an overall rating of 4.4 out of 5, whereas the Yale has an overall rating of 3.9 out of 5. So there's a big difference there in favour of the Schlage. In terms of the number of reviews that have been written, the Schlage has 1,743 reviews and the Yale has 135 reviews written. So again, a massive difference. The other thing to say about this section, of course, is that it is constantly changing. New reviews are being written all the time for these products. So these figures are correct as of now, really. Next section is questions. 825 questions have been asked about the Schlage, and they've asked and answered about the Schlage, and the most popular question has been voted for 15 times. In comparison, 93 questions have been asked and answered about the Yale, and the most popular question has only been voted for 2 times. So again, the Schlage is much more popular. The next feature here is what percentage of the ratings have rated it as 5-star. So 65% of all the reviews written about the Schlage have graded it as 5 stars, whereas 64% of all the reviews of the Yale have graded the product to be 5 stars. Next section is what percentage of the reviews have rated the product as 1 star, and for the Schlage it is 9% of all reviews have rated it as 1 star, whereas for the Yale 13% of their reviews has rated the product as 1 star. So there's quite a big difference there again, and it's in favour of the Schlage. So let's see who has won round 7. Oh, mistake there, that should say round 7, sorry. So my winner for round 7 is the Schlage. And the overall winner of this whole contest of the 7 rounds has got to be the Schlage Connect. So if you're out there and you're undecided about whether or not to buy the Schlage Connect or the Yale YRD240, then looking at my analysis, clearly I would recommend that you go out and buy the Schlage Connect. Thank you for watching.